Everybody, Chris and Lemon here, and I was actually working on a bigger lesson today, but two things came up that I thought would merit, doing a short video just covering them. So yeah, so it turns out Clif High was right. Just took a little bit time for things to kind of pan out a little bit. So wait till you see this. So I'm gonna show you why Clif High was right, and then we're going to do like a little short segment of something else that popped up that had to do with the whole July 25th, 26th time frame, the stuff that Epinoia has kind of like impressed upon me without giving anything definite, but also matched with stuff that was in the remote viewer sessions. So we'll do this one real quick, and I'll just keep working on what I was going to talk about. So if you want to know more, don't go away. So one of my subscribers sent me this video, and it was just like, boom, there it is. Now, I'll be the first to say, like, when the Trump thing happened, I was a little irritated, mildly, because Clif got on Twitter, is like, oh, missed it by 2 days, and I'm like, what? Like, that didn't sound anything at all like what you described. Okay, but then again, like, he's interpreting his data, the best that he can, and it's not completely clear. As things kind of like begin to pan out, I'm like, okay, I can see where this would still be it, but you were focusing on some other key points. And where was all that stuff? Where's the UFO stuff? Well, guess what? You want to know where the UFO stuff was? It was at the Trump rally, as all that stuff was going down. And now people are finding it in the videos and the pictures of the event. So I would have to give that one to Clif as like a behind the back alley-oop freaking slam dunk. Like, and I remember he was also saying, like, this event, they're going to be talking about it like well into next year. And right now there's this like this event is literally like a baked potato of conspiracy wrapped in tinfoil. Like, you literally have everything in it. There's so much weird stuff that comes with the shooting and the conditions, and the way Secret Service was set up, and then there's the whole thing that I've already got people tweaking out on me about, not in this group, but other on Facebook. All I did was point out, like, look at this craziness, and Trump's pointing right at this guy, and that's the guy QAnon thought was JFK Jr. in disguise, and JFK was a president killed by an assassin's bullet. And I mean, those are all factual statements. It's simply an observation. I didn't draw any freaking conclusions from it. I didn't say like it was a big conspiracy on either side. I'm just like, that's awful freaking weird. It's awfully freaking coincidental based on factual truths. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The interesting thing is that, the main thing that we were hearing when Clif was originally talking about his July 15th data, which I'm okay that it was 2 days earlier because of my data. We were focusing on the Mars-Uranus conjunction on Algol, which was the 15th. And the range of that goes out 5 days in either direction. So it was definitely within that conjunction period, and that conjunction symbology has to do with all the types of things that happened that day. So yeah, I mean, it's still a hit. So let's watch a clip from this video that somebody sent me that details like when all this stuff was going down, there's literally freaking like a saucer and orbs and stuff behind it, like watching the whole thing.
Y'all, we're going to be checking this out over on Think Tank on Twitter. I've mentioned their Twitter page quite a few times. I love their posts. They're fantastic. They're always on the pulse of UFOs. But I do want to give a quick shout out because I saw you guys in the comments. I want to give a quick shout out to Cosmic Road, who is also covering it and has already posted this over on YouTube. Go give their channel a subscribe like I just did. Boom, and their video a like because they are pretty damn awesome. So, we were talking about the theory that Donald Trump wanted to release UFO information, and then it went into Marilyn Monroe and JFK and RFK Sr. It was a whole lot. And I was like, maybe this holds not so much credence until I saw this. A flying saucer with orbs has been spotted during the Trump assassination attempt. So, Think Tank has posted this bad boy. Look at this mother flower. There's legit a saucer right by the flag. And what's wild is he captures it as it zips by. This thing is zooming. Look at it. Look at it. Zoom. You guys know that to me, that's the sound in my mind when I see how fast they fly. Look at that sucker. It's a full-on disc. And at first I'm like, well, maybe Think Tank, maybe it could just be something flying by, and it's so fast we can't perceive it. But Think Tank being incredible and extremely analytical, comes in and dives a bit deeper. It's not just a flying saucer. It's a flying saucer accompanied by several pulsating, disappearing, reappearing orbs. A lot of them. Like, this is intense. This is over Trump's head at the rally where he was almost assassinated. In theory, remember the old video is in theory, because he's attempting to release UFO information. Look at all these orbs appear. First, bro. First, we're starting with the saucer, okay? And we saw the saucer zooming. First, we're starting with the saucer and two orbs. And you're like, okay, well, again, the saucer might be something weird flying by. Maybe the orbs too. But as I said, they are disappearing and reappearing. By the end of this 16-second clip, there's 5 orbs next to this saucer. And mind you, this is Think Tank slowing down and trying to piece this frame by frame because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. So imagine at regular speed how fast these things were zooming in and seemingly just popping into our reality or popping into our space, popping into the airspace around this flying saucer. This is insane. Look at that. And of course, he goes deeper. This is why I wanted to come into Think Tank. And again, Cosmic Road posted this 23 hours ago. Think Tank isn't just posting this, he's actively updating it to this very moment. He's still going on about it. His original post was July 20th, but as you see 5 hours ago, he's also grabbing pictures and enhancing pictures. So as the assassination attempt is happening, We have a UFO that seemingly has a perfect bird's eye view of the entire situation. Let's go forward. Look at that Mother Tucker. It's definitely a round, sphere-like object. Some were saying it's a drone, and again, at first I'm like, you know what? Maybe it could be a drone. Until I saw the saucer with the spheres and I saw the spheres popping into reality. That like blew my mind. I'm like, Cthulhu Master incredibly showed me a new drone. He sent me a link of a new drone that can go pretty damn fast, damn near 300 miles per hour. It wasn't quite there yet, I don't believe. I don't remember exactly. He just sent it to me recently and I watched the video. I didn't get to study it too much. But it was pretty damn fast. But it wasn't instantaneous. It wasn't just appearing into reality out of nowhere like these orbs did. And before we move forward, I have my own weird little theory. Well, it's not my own theory. This theory has been around for a while, but I feel like it is strengthened by this.
Just throwing something else in here I thought of just as I started to edit. And this is why I say with this channel, the way that it works, how she guides my stuff like every day, you got to watch what she's leaking into the subject matter that I'm talking about ahead of time. So what I thought of was in that big video that we did yesterday, a good portion of the end of it was talking about like UFO stuff. And I don't normally talk about UFO stuff. Like that's, to me, UFO stuff is like the most frustrating thing ever because it's interesting, but like it's completely by chance that you would ever see or encounter something like that. So like, what's the point? It's like the moon thing. Okay, I can see that it's weird, but what's the point? I can't go do anything with that. I can't do it. But it just struck me that, man, she had me talking about UFOs for an awfully long time in that video. We don't usually cover that. And then today, boom, UFOs, which are connecting to the Clif High, which connects to everything else we've been talking about. And I guess I have mentioned them here and there lately, but it's usually in the context of like, we don't actually freaking know what they are. We just pretend that we do. But she has often drawn my attention to things like the movie Knowing, where they ended up being kind of like synonymous with the ideas of higher vibratory beings like angels or whatnot, or the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which has a hidden message in it that nobody sees that has to do with stuff Jesus taught in the Nag Hammadi, become like children. Because that's why the guy got picked at the end, because he was the most, had the most childlike mind. He was interested in Pinocchio earlier in the movie. There's always hidden stuff in there. But anyway, I'm going on here. But it was just interesting because I don't think I've ever talked about UFOs on this channel, but I just did, and now they're popping up today. That's pretty hard to miss. So I can't say that I'm not Clif. I can't fully understand his program. It did make sense to me at first, the way he described it. Like, he described like, this big, huge building tension period and then release language. So I guess I kind of envisioned that like something weird is going on and people are freaking out. Like what's happening? And then, but I guess if you just adjust the way you look at the situation, then yeah, that would probably still fit. I mean, you see that happen, and there's that whole initial shock of everything, and everyone's just freaking out about it. But then the shock breaks, and then people are like, okay, what's going on here? There's a lot of fishy stuff. And then people just start getting outraged about every little thing. And it's just like I said, on a personal Facebook page, it's unrelated to this. I just posted the picture of Trump pointing directly at that guy for like a minute before. It was just the way that it was framed. So it was just an awfully crazy coincidence that this person that was like a part of this massive conspiracy type thing that was going on during the last presidency just happened to be in the right perfect spot. And it's like that. I mean, I can look at that and say that's pretty crazy, given everything in the past, that who they say he is was at that particular event. There's nothing not factual about that. Fact of the matter is, what do we preach on here? We don't know what we don't know, and it's better to just not know anything. Because as soon as you think you know things that you don't, you're operating kind of as a fool. Wise men know nothing. You can examine things and look at them and stuff like that, but you don't want to become attached to them, especially when you're getting limited information through a screen based on what you're being allowed to see. So stuff to consider. But I would say like that, the introduction of like UFOs and orbs being seen and videotaped and photographed as this thing is going down makes this like one of Clif High's biggest 3-point jump shots in the time that I've followed him off and on. So good job to him. And then, I mean, if I think about it, some of the things that the Future Forecasting Group remote viewed for when they remote viewed that July 15th event, they talked about seeing something like moving very fast. Like some of those pictures, like, oh, supposedly like that's the bullet or something like that. Like that, and it could very well have been the actual UFOs that were videotaped. They were just kind of like murky on the details, but I'd say they got pretty freaking close to it too. So both of them, freaking great job. And that's when we transition into the second segment, which also has to do with the Future Forecasting Group overlaid with my stuff. So on this channel, I mainly focus on unraveling the Gnostic mysteries, which is the path through life, what we're doing here, what we're supposed to be doing here, and then also what is reality, how does it work, and then what kind of stuff are we being shown in reality, and what does that mean? And I'm constantly juggling between all these different things. And as I continue to progress further, that intuitive guidance that leads me introduces me to other books and stuff like that might be older or from other parts of the world that are essentially telling the same overall story for this place and what we're doing here. So I'm going to be going into that a little bit more here soon. But I just got done doing some new stuff sitting here, and I was mainly just connecting to the Father, what I call the Father, the highest point of consciousness out of everything everywhere, like the highest you can go. And I was focusing on talking to it. And then when I got done with that, I went and got back on my phone, and the first thing that popped up was another YouTube channel that I watched some of his videos. And I watched him like, I was watching him like when I first, like 7 years ago when it all started. Now he's like freaking huge. Got almost like 475,000 subscribers. He talks about different topics. I don't always agree with him. Actually, I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff, but I can appreciate other people's perspectives and takes because we're all the blind kids trying to feel the elephant. So I noticed the thumbnail. It was something like Strange Signs in the Sky, in July 2024, and had a woman with like meteors and stuff. I'm like, oh, I better watch that one. Because this time frame that I'm looking at, like I've been pointed to this time frame for a long time. I've been talking about this ad nauseum. And this time frame lines up for the end of this 7-year period as it pertains to me. So end of July was like she always said, watch for something big to happen like end of July, or things to start coming unraveled around end of July. So I'm already looking at this time frame. So this video, he goes through and he lists like all these asteroids, and most of them are from this grouping called the Apollo asteroids, which that's a big That's a big word for people that got some deeper esoteric knowledge. It could also connect to Apollyon, which connects to the destroyer. That's what it means in Greek. And then where Apollyon is also synonymous with Abaddon in the Bible, and that's the fifth trumpet, and that involves something falling from the sky and hitting and unleashing all this stuff. Do I know that's going to happen? No. These are all ancient clues that we were given, and they're scattered all over the place, and we just kind of got to pick through them the best we can as we're led to. Note when synchronicities and alignments happen. So he's going through, he goes, I cut out only a small section of that video because he covers, I don't really understand why he did this. He covers like a big slew of asteroids that like have already passed. But it will highlight, the ones that are still coming up that are in the time frames that I was looking at. And normally I wouldn't get too hung up. I'm not saying I'm hung up on it now. I'm just watching and waiting and reading the tea leaves. That's all I'm doing. I wouldn't normally get too hung up about that because, like I said, I've seen articles like that I don't know how many freaking times. Oh, NASA warns of an asteroid. Oh, okay. Must be Tuesday. But in this case, I was definitely led to follow and watch what the future forecasting group is doing, because a lot of it is lining up with stuff that I'm getting. And one of the biggest ones that they show, especially Dick Algar's stuff, is a very specific asteroid impact. It says it right on his sheet. Right around the time that, I'm expecting things, right around the time all this stuff is lining up. So it's a big if, it's a big maybe. But what we don't know is it an echo of a future event, like the Nexus point things that Epinoia was explaining. We could be near a Nexus point, so it could be further in the future, but it's connected somehow. I guess we just got to wait and see. But I was just kind of led to focus on my own timeline and then see where it goes from there. So let's go ahead and watch this clip, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it.
290 feet asteroid LY2 speeding towards Earth at the speed of 28,156 kilometers per hour. From the group of Apollo asteroids, one more has fallen off its orbit and is moving towards Earth at a scary speed of 28,156 kilometers per hour. NASA is closely following the path of this asteroid LY2. This space rock measures 88 meters, 290 feet in size, and is scheduled to pass by Earth on July 23rd, 2024 at 1:22 p.m. IST from a distance of 4.5 million kilometers. NASA warns of 380-foot massive asteroid racing at 29,000 kilometers per hour. It is potentially hazardous. NASA has issued a warning about an asteroid named 2011 MW1 belonging to the Apollo group, which is set to zip past Earth on July 25th, 2024. This massive building-sized space rock measuring 380 feet, 116 meters in diameter, will travel at an alarming speed of 28,946 kilometers per hour. While it will pass by at a safe distance of 3.8 million kilometers, the question arises, could it pose any danger to our planet? Potentially hazardous asteroid 2011 AM24 close encounter. Online observation, the 26th of July, 2024.
What is this thing?
It's an asteroid, sir.
How big are we talking?
Sir, our best estimate is 97.6 billion.
It's the size of Texas, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Dan, we didn't see this thing coming?
Well, our object collision budget's $1 million. That allows us to track about 3% of the sky. And begging your pardon, sir, but it's a big-ass sky.
So that clip I inserted at the end is from the the movie Armageddon, and I think that's the key thing. It's like, yeah, NASA's tracking these asteroids, but you know, they can't see everything. That's a big ass black sky. And these things are pretty freaking small, pretty far away, if that's how it actually works. Who the hell knows? We don't really know. That's just what authority tells us. But either which way, it is more likely to me that if something like that were to happen, it wouldn't be one that they saw. It would be the one that snuck by, be the one that they missed. That's what makes the most sense to me. One thing I didn't want to like play the whole video, but as he was leading into that section, he said, it was I don't know, 2 days ago? I haven't looked this up yet. But he said there was another meteor, like a daytime fireball, that kind of like disintegrated over top New York. I don't know how many people saw it. I don't know where he got the information. I'll have to search for it a little bit more. But if that's true, like, that's pretty significant. That's something that doesn't happen all the time.
A sight to behold Tuesday above New York City if you were lucky. Several people said they saw a meteor streak across the sky in New York City, along with a loud boom and shaking buildings. According to NASA, initial reports suggest the daylight fireball passed over the Statue of Liberty before moving west into New Jersey at 38,000 miles an hour. However, NASA officials do say this trajectory is very crude and uncertain, adding that the estimations are based on a few eyewitness accounts and there's no camera or satellite data currently available to refine the solution.
Like, a lot of weird stuff happens. And it's just like, it's almost, when you see it, like, it's almost a joke. Like, this place is the weird game reality that I say it is. Like, if you remember, like, what was it? Was it last summer when they had all those, like, wildfires in Canada and it was blowing all the smoke down here, and New York was, like, engulfed in this thick red smoke? It literally looked like hell. And then they had this giant billboard for like Diablo 4 video game with I don't think it's Lilith or someone on it. And it says something like "Welcome to Hell, New York," and this is like up on this giant building when there's this big thick red cloud everywhere. I'm like, who's writing this script? I mean, it reminds me of like one of the mushroom trips I did, where it's kind of like God pulled the screen back for a minute. It's like, it's all a big joke, but shh, don't tell anybody. It seems like it sometimes. But that was something that did pop up right after I was doing my prayer, meditation, whatever you want to call it. And one of the ones that he noted in that video was the one that popped up to me the other day. And I want to say that one was the 25th or the 26th. I forget which one. It's in the video. Does that mean it's going to happen? No, it doesn't. We're only looking at the tea leaves, the puzzle pieces that pop up in front of us. We don't ever want to say that something is definitely going to happen. But it's like, why do these puzzle pieces fall into our laps that connect to other things? What does it ultimately mean? Is it means something is definitely going to happen, or is it supposed to like maybe prod you and think like, what if this did happen? How do you feel about where you are in life right now? How do you feel in alignment with yourself and your God right now? Maybe that's why it happens. Who knows? I don't know. I'm in here, so I'm limited just like everybody else. But either which way, those are two things that popped up today that are connected to the Clif High and the future forecasting group stuff that we've been covering. So yeah, it looks like we've all been right in different ways about what we were saying. things did kick off around July 15th at the Algol conjunction. And these things do keep popping up. I mean, they've had multiple remote viewing hits. Epinoia, like, this is the time frame. This is the time frame, and it continues to pan out. And we will keep tracking it, you know, what we see out in the world, plus whatever kind of stuff she gets from me. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later, probably tonight, so stay tuned from that. I just thought it was interesting. I just wanted to share that with you. Anyway, if you want to support the channel, if you want to get any of our freaking awesome, you know, divine energy pendants, handmade crystals and stuff, and charged by her on this thing, ask me what they can actually do. You can reach us at clumencreations.etsy.com. Chris and Lumen. See you next time.